On Monday, we were treated to the surprise drop of the full Andor Season 2 trailer from Lucasfilm. In a very un-Star Wars-like fashion, the high-octane footage is set to the Revolution Starts Now by Steve Earle and reminds viewers of how acclaimed the first season was. The drop shared more interesting news. The 12-episode season will be dropped in increments of 3 episodes at a time for 4 weeks. Whew! Can we hold on to our credits while zooming through hyperspace at this speed?
I don't know, because I was really excited when this trailer dropped yesterday. I was like not expecting it and not expecting the tone they went with at all when you look at season 1 of Andor being very, very demure, very modest, you know. It's a slow burn. It's quiet. It's getting all of Cassian's backstory. And so this is hard-hitting, like action, Mon Mothma in the club, like Cassian looking suave as hell. I mean, like it's just a complete 180, which I think is really fun for this show. And so what it says on StarWars.com from Tony Gilroy is that the 4 weeks, the 4 arcs, I guess, the 3-episode arcs are going to be a year at a time of 4 years leading up to Cassian in Rogue One, essentially. And so that's cool, too, because we thought we were just getting like 1 year ahead of Rogue One. No, we're getting 4 years, and we're going to see the rebellion just like be a thing and grow, which is super cool. So I loved the trailer. I loved the needle drop. I know it's not very Star Wars, but I think that it fits so well. And hell yeah, the revolution is now in Star Wars. That's the whole theme. Like, that's the point, right? And so I just loved it. I can't wait. I was kind of like, I loved Andor, but it was not one of my top things in terms of a week-to-week thing. So getting this binge model with it for season 2, I think is going to be awesome.
I think so too. And as for it not seeming like Star Wars, I think the tone of the first season doesn't feel like Star Wars. It is Star Wars in every like aspect.
It's
but
not
the tone,
classic Star Wars. Yeah,
you're right. Well, the tone is very serious, very adult, and I think this one seems like it's going to have a lot of that DNA. But it does. He has now stepped into the world of this like revolution, and he is a spy, and like that's what I loved about this trailer, seeing those shots from him from the back and showing him in different costumes each time, and then showing a little bit of that adventure that looked really cool, and him dressing up and kind of doing the 007 thing where he's like actually having to like look kind of posh and be in this environment and then go over and that is not what I didn't expect. That part, I thought he was just going to be more of a what we saw in Rogue One, which is much more like down and dirty and doing the violence he needs to do. But I love the idea that they're like training him as like an espionage agent. That's I'm very excited.
Well, that was my big takeaway too. Like even in terms of like the musical choice there, like this is not your dad's Star Wars, and this is not Star Wars for kids. And now Star Wars is made for kids, but this is not. Like they're not afraid to go there. Like the shot of like the cadaver in the forefront, like it looks incredible. It looks phenomenal. It looks like it's going to really go there. But my other big takeaway is like I need to go back and rewatch season 1. And I was planning on doing that, but this was really like the kick in the pants that I needed to do that. My other big takeaway was like this was clearly shot on location, not on a volume. Like you can just it's just apparent.
Sure. That's why it costs so much.
Yeah, exactly. So you might not be seeing as many alien characters. We might be spending more time with more human characters, but it's going to allow us to be on location, have some really, what looks like to me, some really thrilling action set pieces there. But in terms of like the release schedule there, I find myself more and more open to experimenting and trying things different. We just saw My Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man do it with like 2 episodes and 3 episodes here. So, how that impacts the water cooler conversation, I think, we'll still have to figure that out. But yeah, I think it makes sense when you're going to, have the time jump like that, separate it into 3 episodes at a time. I kind of dig that.
Yeah, well, the water cooler thing, I mean, for Andor at least, we lose sight of this because we watch all this stuff, but Andor was not streamed that much. Like, if you look at Disney Plus shows and how much they're streamed, Andor is pretty far down. Like, it's not really one of those shows, that's kind of like inspiring the weekly thing and doing what other shows have done on Disney Plus or other platforms. Like, it's not one of their more successful shows in that avenue. But like you said with the trailer, it focused on where it is successful, which is that it has been massively critically acclaimed pretty much universally as being some of the best Star Wars in general, because it is different. It does lean into stuff that we've covered and talked about here. And so I think with the trailer, it's just saying, like, that's what we're going to be. Like, we're going to keep chasing what made us successful in that way, not necessarily chasing the streaming numbers. So I think the setup of the idea of these 3 episodes are a thing. Like, it's kind of like 4 self-contained stories almost that are going to release together in these chunks. That makes so much more sense because, again, we're grouping them by arc. Like, these 3 episodes cover a year, and then you wait a week and you get 3 more episodes that cover a different year. And I would imagine that there is a degree of feeling like you're closing these story arcs every time you get those 3 episodes. So I think that's a brilliant strategy for this particular show because, again, they're not going to be that huge millions of people watching as soon as it drops type show. Like they're not doing like the Severance thing or the Game of Thrones thing or whatever. That's not the kind of show it is. So the idea of dropping like this, I think, plays to its strengths. And then I started thinking about the trailer. I mean, have we ever seen a Star Wars trailer that has music that's not Star Wars-y type music? Because I can't think of a time.
Maybe Skeleton Crew had one that was wasn't it like a cover of another song we knew?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
The Tom something
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
Major Tom, Ground Control MMA, whatever it was.
That was a really unique
That's not
and
the right
fun.
song. I keep saying that song. It's never the right song. I keep singing the wrong thing. I did that when it came out too.
But yeah, I mean, I think that really, again, it leans into what made the show good, and it leans into what people want from it, and it made the trailer really exciting for me in a different way. Like, I find myself a lot more engaged than if it was just playing Star Wars strings and brass or whatever in the background. Like, I think this show's going to be one that we're gonna look back on at the end of the year and be like, man, like that was one of the best shows we watched this year. You know, by the time we're all said and done.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right. You're right. It's talking about what it highlights and how it really highlighted, I think, what it needed to highlight, and that is it's a very character-driven trailer. Like there's moments of big, like there's battle moments and explosions, but like so many just like hero shots of the many characters we got to know last season. A lot of them doing something a little different than they did last season. There's one shot of the Imperial officer that I'm not remembering his name or anything, or the actor.
Or Krennic.
Yeah. I don't remember.
I think he's talking about Cyril, probably.
The guy dressed in all white.
Oh, Krennic.
Oh,
Krennic.
Sorry.
Okay.
It was Krennic. My bad.
He looked like he was being like kind of like smarmy and like in a way that just like looked like he's kind of laughing, and that's not really what you exactly expect from that character. And I just think it looks great. I just think so much of it looks really cool.
I am excited to see Cyril again, though. He was one of those characters I forgot about, and the second I saw that guy's face again, I was like, that guy.
Yeah. I've got to rewatch it. I don't remember anybody's name. I barely remember people's roles in the show. It was one I watched it week to week, and I had a hard time following it.
It's been a while too.
Like the last half.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I forget what show we were talking about, maybe last week, but some shows you kind of watch. Oh, it was Dune Prophecy. We were talking about it on Bingers Assemble, how the first half of that season felt kind of all over the place, and then the last half you're like, oh, I'm locked in. I know what the story's about now. I think that Andor felt the same way. A lot of disparate storylines kind of weaving together, and then by the last half I was like, okay, I'm locked in. I'm loving every minute of this. You just watched a clip from Multiverse News. If you liked it, go to our channel. We got a whole episode that it comes from. So go check that out and hit the like and subscribe. And we got lots of clips you'll enjoy, but also full hour-long episodes of Multiverse News with lots of things that don't even make it to clips. So check us out.
You stay clippy.